What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be getting into my Week 13 NBA Power Rankings. So let's dive right into them. Starting to get a more of a feel for where these teams are right now as we're basically halfway through the season right now. So let's get into it. Starting with the number 30 team, we're going to have the Detroit Pistons staying at the same spot from last week. The Pistons go 1-3 this week. So more of the same for the Pistons. Just not a lot of star power. Cade Cunningham out. Do we really have to talk about this team too much? I mean, it's just not a good team, and it's the worst team in the league. Well, not a lot of talent. Number 29, we're going to have the Houston Rockets. Was kind of catching stride like 3 weeks ago, and now they've really fell back down to earth here. Have gone 0-3 this week, just not playing good basketball at 10-30. Staying at the same spot here. Just clearly the lack of talent on this roster, the lack of experience is catching up to this Rockets team. It's just not enough to win games right now. It's still a huge rebuild in Houston right now. Going to number 28, though, we're going to have the Charlotte Hornets here. Also staying at the same spot. The Hornets this week go 1-3. So, yeah, Charlotte, I mean, they got LaMelo Ball. They got their guy here. But other than that, this team just sucks in general. A 1-3 week here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams down here, I don't really have faith in at all to turn things around anytime soon. And, yeah, the Hornets are just not a good team. Really need to do a better job building around LaMelo Ball right now. All right, and then it's been a very frustrating year for the Hornets as well. I mean, this team made the play-in tournament last year. You would expect them to be back there, or at least in the conversation, in the hunt tier here. But yeah, moving on to number 27, the San Antonio Spurs. Without Greg Popovich, this team would be the worst team. It's the worst roster, I think, in the whole NBA. Go 1-3 this week. Just more of the same from San Antonio. I mean, really well-coached team, but coaching can only get you so far when you have this kind of a roster. It's just not good here in San Antonio. And then at 26, we have the Orlando Magic. Orlando this week goes 3-2, so a good week for Orlando. This is actually the more exciting team in this batch here. Actually, pretty close to jumping into the in the hunt here. I mean, Green, or not Green, Pachetrio, I think that's what his name is, and Suggs. They got Cole Anthony. This team, it can put up points on the board and can play good basketball. As we see, they've won 16 games. They have a good week here. And in the Eastern Conference, you never know. Another good week like this, maybe they deserve to be in the hunt. All right, but that is the bad tier. Let's go to the in the hunt tier. Starting out with number 25, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. There they are. The Thunder this week go 3-2, so another solid week for OKC. Just hanging around this 25th spot for a long time here. Gilgeous Alexander's playing great basketball, and this team is competitive. They're gritty, and that's what's led them to some of these wins. And I think that they're good enough to maybe sneak in the play-in tournament. I mean, they're only I think a game back on the. They're only a game and a half back on the number 10 seed in the play-in, so you never know with Oklahoma City right now. All right, but then number 24, staying at the same spot, we have the Toronto Raptors. It's all been staying at the same spots up to this point until we get to the next team. But yeah, I mean, Toronto went 2-2 this week. So, decent enough week for the Raptors, but they need to be better than consistent right now for them to climb out of this hole that they dug themselves in on that losing streak. They got to play better if they want to get to the 500 mark, which I do think this team is well coached enough and talented enough to do that, but they're just not showing it right now. And we'll see if they can rebound here soon. All right, and then number 23, as I said, our first team that's moved in this power rankings, we have the Washington Wizards dropping down a spot here. The Wizards this week, 0-3. Frustrating week for Washington. We're starting to get some things going last week, and then just a bad week here for Bradley Beal and company. Yeah, I mean it's just been a very inconsistent year from Washington. You really don't know what you're going to get from them on a night to night basis. They can definitely put up points on the board, but they can also lay some eggs and just lose badly. So that's really how I would describe the Wizards right now. They've got to be better. They have the talent, but got to be a little bit more consistent if they want to be in the play-in tournament. All right, but going to number 22, we have the LA Lakers, who find themselves a half a game back on the play-in tournament as the Jazz are the 10th seed. So, yeah, I mean, the Lakers jumping up a spot here. This week they go 3-1 for LeBron James' crew, so that's really good for him. Playing good basketball here for the Lakers. I mean, LeBron James literally carrying this team. Russell Westbrook's been better this year. Obviously, there's not a whole lot elsewhere there, especially with Anthony Davis out. Not sure when AD comes back, but if the Lakers can hang around, I mean, if they can hang around, Anthony Davis comes back, this team could be a play-in tournament, maybe win their games in the play-in tournament and be a playoff team. I mean, you don't want to play LeBron James in the playoffs no matter how bad his team is around him. So you never know with the LA Lakers. Right now, I do believe they're 22, but a scary team if they can catch their stride. All right, but going to number 21, though, we have the Utah Jazz dropping down 2 spots and into the In the Hunt tier as we wrap up the In the Hunt tier here. Utah this week goes just a 2-3 week. So not the best week for Utah by any means, but I just had a few other teams that I think deserve to jump ahead of them here. That's why the Utah Jazz, I think, need to come down here. Still a very competitive team with Mike Conley. Lauri Markkanen's been very good this season. Jordan Clarkson. It's a good roster. I think it was a very underrated roster coming into the year. Obviously, they traded away Donovan and Rudy, but they got a lot of other players in return, which a lot of people forgot about, apparently. But yeah, Utah Jazz are a well-coached team right now. They're very cohesive. And again, a team that can really put up points. Defensively, they're very worrisome, but still a very solid team there, I think, for the Jazz at 21. But then dropping down 7 spots here, the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah, not a good week, to say the least, for Portland. This week, they go 0-4. So no wins this week. Lose 4 in a row. Not what you want if you're the Trailblazers. I mean, Damian Lillard and this team, they just got to be better. Like I said, I mean, Damian Lillard can't carry this team forever. It's literally just him right now, and I don't really like the roster around him. But they're still a good team, I think. Sorry, one sec, guys. Sorry about that, guys. My mom was calling me. But anyway, the Portland Trailblazers, I mean, they got to be better here. 0-4 is not the kind of week, especially in this tight Western Conference, that you need from the Trailblazers. And we'll see if they can rebound. I still believe in Lillard. I think he's an elite player, of course, but not a good week for the Trailblazers, to say the least. All right, but then going to number 19, jumping up a spot, we have the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls here, this week go 3-1. So a good week for Chicago. They're really figuring things out. They're figuring some things out right now. Playing good basketball here. If you look at the Bulls roster, obviously we know it's very talented. With DeRozan, with Levine, with Vucevic, it can be a good team. They just had to figure some things out, and right now they're starting to figure things out. at 19 and 22, getting back to playing winning basketball. So we'll see if they can continue rolling like this in the Eastern Conference, where that 10 spot is really wide open. Oh, by the way, I did not mean to be putting all these guys. So these guys are all in the playing tournament. My bad. But yeah, that's the Chicago Bulls right there. All right, going to number 18, dropping down 2 spots here. We have the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks this week go, let's see, they go 2-2, I believe. Or 1-2, or no, 2-1. Sorry, there it is for the Hawks. Just only 3 games this week. I do think that teams deserve to jump ahead of them, though. That's why they're coming down here, in my opinion. A couple teams that had better weeks here. But yeah, Atlanta, still just kind of a mediocre team right now, honestly. I'm going to be straight up honest. They got Trae Young. They got Murray. But other than that, not a whole lot. And then this team is, I don't know. This team's just iffy right now. They had a bad week a couple weeks ago. Just not a consistent team right now. They just continue to fall, in my opinion. But a decent enough week at 2-1 right now. So that's a win for the Hawks at least. All right, going to number 17, though, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jumping up 4 spots, Rudy Gobert and the Timberwolves have a really good week this week. Go 3-0 here. Great week for Minnesota. Obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns injured right now is tough for the Timberwolves, but it's gotten Rudy Gobert a little bit more comfortable here because they need Gobert to be good here. They gave up a lot to go get him from the Jazz, and he's got to be better. Obviously, he knows that, and he's playing better right now. So we're going to see if the Timberwolves can be a good team. Obviously, need to stay afloat right now for Karl-Anthony Towns' return, but I think the Timberwolves are a very good team here and have a lot of potential, but just got to figure things out. All right, but then going to number 16, jumping up 2 spots, we have the Indiana Pacers. Just continue to win right now for Indiana. Go 2-1 this week. Good week for the Pacers. Again, like I said, just continuing to win. Haliburton, obviously a great great guard for the Pacers, of course. Miles Turner is a good defense. And the Pacers are a gritty team here. So, that's how the Pacers have found ways to win in an Eastern Conference right now. That's kind of iffy. And they're figuring things out and playing like a good team. Coming into the year, I did think this was the worst team in the whole NBA, but clearly they've proved me wrong on that mark, being at the 16 point. All right, and then going to number 15, though, we have the Sacramento Kings staying at the same spot here. This week, the Kings go 2-2. So just average week for Sacramento. But De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis and this team playing good basketball right now. That's why the Kings deserve to be right here. They're a solid enough team here. The Kings, young team, obviously they've been waiting for this moment to be a good team, and right now Kings fans are probably really happy with the way this season's going right now. So they find themselves at number 15. Very young team, can put up a lot of points and can beat a lot of teams in the NBA. All right, going to number 14, though, we have the New York Knicks stand at the same spot here. The Knicks this week go 2-1 here. So just an average week for New York here. Julius Randle plays good basketball for this team. They obviously got Brunson, who's been a good asset for the Knicks this season. So they're playing good enough, a lot more like the team that we saw a couple years ago in the year where they were the 5 seed or whatever. So they're playing a lot better here, and we'll see if they can keep it rolling right now. Not a lot of stars for the Knicks, but they're just a cohesive team and have a lot of decent enough players is how I describe them right now. All right, but then going to number 13, dropping down a spot, continuing to just lose right now. The Phoenix Suns, 1-3 this week. Obviously, losing out on Devin Booker is tough for this roster. This team clearly is missing him right now. But like I keep on saying, this team I do believe, is still good without him, with Chris Paul, with DeAndre Ayton, Bridges, and all these other guys for the Suns. It's still a good team, in my opinion. They've just got to figure things out right now and figure a way to win without their superstar player. But yeah, I still think the Suns are a good team, and we'll see if they can bounce back. But, continuing to fall like this, another bad week. I mean, this Suns team could quickly find themselves at a really bad record. All right, but let's move on to number 12, though. Jumping up 5 spots, we have the Golden State Warriors. Mainly, this big jump is because of Curry's return here. The Warriors go 0-3, so yeah, I mean, it was a bad week for the Warriors, but like I said, just going to be jumping up because of Curry's return. Obviously, with Steph Curry, this team is much better. Now, they got to be better than that, though. Curry's got to be better for this team. Clearly, we're still recovering a little bit from that injury. But yeah, obviously, the Warriors, a very good home team, very good road team this season. But yeah, I do still think that they deserve to be number 12 right now and jumping up 5 spots. Going to number 11, though, we have the Dallas Mavericks staying at the same spot here. The Dallas Mavericks this week go 1-3, so a little bit of a rough week for Luka Doncic and company. Still believe in Mavericks. Luka Doncic, obviously a generational type player. He's just amazing for this team. Obviously for Dallas, a team that without Luka, I mean, it's just not a whole lot there. I mean, they have Spencer Dinwiddie. They have a few pieces, but clearly it's the Luka Doncic show here in Dallas. And that's enough to be a 23-19 team, I guess, and a playoff team right now. So that's how I judge the Mavericks. Going to number 10, though, we have the Miami Heat staying at the same spot here. There. The Heat this week go 2-2. So solid week for Miami. Just kind of figuring things out here with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo for this team. Obviously, we know this team's potential. This team can be a very good team. We've seen it before, but just the season hasn't gone the way they've expected so far. And we'll see if they can continue to move on from this. But going to number 9, though, we have the New Orleans Pelicans staying at the same spot here. Or jumping. Oh, wait. Sorry. No. Okay, the Pelicans are in a bit. Number 9 is the Clippers, dropping down a spot and out of the contender tier here. I mean, it's just been weird team to rank. I'm going to be honest for the Clippers. They'll go 1-3 this week. So this team's really dropping games right now. But I don't know what to do because we know this team's potential. We know they have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. If this team's fully healthy, this team can be the best team in the whole NBA. No joke there. But we just don't know what the Clippers are right now. They're just not really working together. Leonard still obviously seems like he's recovering from that injury that he sustained. And they're just not playing good enough right now for the Clippers standard. And we'll see if the Clippers can be a better team going forward. But right now, not playing great. All right, but then jumping up a spot, here comes the Pelicans. Pelicans just continue to give me more and more reasons right now not to bring them into the contender tier. Going 2-2 this week, just not really being able to get over the hump right now. It seems like for New Orleans and Zion Williamson. It's a good roster here in New Orleans with the Williamson, Ingram, McCollum, a lot of other great, decent enough players for this team. I mean, this team's a very cohesive team, very star power team with Williamson, but I just don't trust the Pelicans right now as a top contender. Do I think this team could go after the Celtics, the Bucks, say, the the Nuggets, the Cavs on a night-to-night basis in the playoffs? I don't think so. But they're still a very good team right now. They're still a playoff team. We're going to see if this team can really start to get over the hump. But right now, I still believe that this team is a playoff team. All right, that is the playoff tier. Let's go to the contender tier. Starting at number 7, staying at the same spot, Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers continue just to really play good basketball here. Go 3-1. Really, since the return of James Harden, it's been a much better time in Philadelphia, just really playing good basketball. Joel Embiid showing why he's such a great center. And then obviously James Harden doing his thing. And the 76ers, really hard to stop when those two are really playing good right now. And that's really what makes them really good. I mean, they got a good enough players around them, but it's really comes down to two things, and that's Joel Embiid and James Harden. If both those players are healthy, this is a contender in my opinion. Going to number 6, though, dropping down 2 spots, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers here. The Cavs go 2-2 this week, so yeah, I mean Cleveland, another kind of midweek. I mean they're kind of having these lately, but yeah, I still believe in Cleveland right now. They're still a very good team. With Donovan Mitchell in this roster, can be a very, very explosive team. But there's one concern with this team. I think that's defensively, just kind of a rough team defensively. They've got to be better there. Obviously, a very explosive team, but on defense can be a little bit better. But who knows? I mean, Donovan Mitchell's such a great player, though. It might not even matter for defense on some nights for this team. All right, but going to number 5, though, we have the Denver Nuggets jumping up a spot here. The Nuggets at 5, cracking to the top 5 here. They go 3-0 this week, so a great week for Denver. And yeah, the Denver Nuggets really playing good basketball right now. Really hard to stop Nikola Jokic right now. He is just clearly showing why he was the 2-time reigning MVP these past 2 years. Just playing great basketball. And the Nuggets, very, very scary team going into the playoffs. Might be the best team in the Western Conference. It is close. Between the next team, who I have, the Memphis Grizzlies jumping up a spot. And like I said, it is close between these two, but I'm giving the edge to the Grizzlies here. I just trust this roster talent overall more than I do the Denver Nuggets with Ja Morant and with all these young explosive players on this team. I just think it's a little bit better, but it's very close between those two. The Grizzlies, very aggressive, very physical team, and that really, really can lead to some injuries. But when they're on, I mean, it's a very good team and a hard team to stop. All right, but going to number 3, though, staying at the same spot here, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks this week kind of get back on track here, going 3-1 for Giannis Antetokounmpo's team. Obviously, Giannis, an amazing player here. You cannot count out Giannis and this team. And yeah, I mean, they got enough players around them for Giannis to excel at his highest level. And that's what makes the Bucks so great. I think Giannis is the best player in the NBA, in my opinion. And the Bucks are playing like that right now. Going to number 2, though, we have the Brooklyn Nets staying at the same spot here. Finally snap that losing streak, but still, even with that, go 2-1. So a good enough week for Brooklyn. KD, Kyrie Irving, very similar to the Sixers, but better. Ever since Kyrie Irving has gotten back, this Nets team has been very good with KD and Kyrie. Just a dynamic duo for this Brooklyn team that's very hard to stop. And when this team is on, can really score points. And their defense has taken steps this season as well. Some of these young players playing good, and the Brooklyn Nets playing really good basketball and are going to be the number 2 team. But then finishing it off at number 1, the Boston Celtics. Staying right where they deserve to be, going 3-1 this week. Jason Tatum, this relentless defense, Jaylen Brown, and the Celtics continue to show why they are the best team in the NBA and why they showed that they can win the Eastern Conference last year. Yeah, I mean the Boston Celtics. What else do you need to know from this team? It's just a very good roster. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your power rankings. And anyway, peace